It's absolutely crazy to think that we're 3/4 of the way through the Great Jahy in terms of at least its first season, hopefully first of many seasons, even if they're shorter length, like 10 episodes a season, something like that. Either way, 15 episodes in and the show gets better. You know my videos if you've been following the Great Jahy reviews. I absolutely adore it. It's one of my new favorite slice of life series. It's just absolutely refreshing to see still the way that they're punishing Jahy in karma fashion, but still finding new ways while continuing to grow her as a character by really pushing, at this point, jealousy as her main hurdle right now, because obviously characters like Kokoro mean so much to her that other characters like the magical girl becoming friends with her is something that she's naturally going to push back against, and now also having to work with her, given that it was actually a legit coincidence with the boss just trying to get more help and then in return causing more heartache for Jahy. It's just great to see how the show is, one, sticking to its roots of do good things will happen, do bad things or act shitty, and bad things and shitty things will happen to you. But still, like, they continue to find new ways to make the cast so much more engaging. Like, this episode was all about the magical girl being more a part of Jahy's life, and every time she tries to say that they're not friends, you get basically the most horrifying villain aura popping off of her. So she is friends with her, even if maybe she doesn't want to be. And it's interesting because while Jahy may not want to necessarily be friends with the magical girl, the thing that's really hard for Jahy to grasp is that people like Kokoro are just nice people, and they may in return want to naturally be friends. So you could argue, like, okay, but if she doesn't want to be friends with her necessarily, why is she getting punished for, doing the nice thing and being, more often than not kinder than she has to be? The interesting idea of punishing Jahy in the way that they did in this episode was that Kokoro wanted to be friends with the magical girl, that she legit enjoyed her company, and at every moment where Jahy was trying to wish harm or bad things to happen, in this episode she legit was hoping that the adults who recognized a high school student playing with little kids would get thrown away by the jail and police, and instead they were just like, oh, that's really nice of her to take time out of her day to play with the preschool children. And I'm just like watching this and seeing the escalation of how she's trying to like rip her away, and how Jahy's like really just saying like, no, Kokoro is my playmate, and Kokoro just like, no, I'm actually friends with her too. Someone like the magical girl suffered basically her entire life of being like a target of torment, and now is finally getting a chance to relive her life a second time, similar to that of Jahy. Because a common theme that I've been discussing is how Jahy grew up in a pretty evil-like environment, so she had a very shitty personality and acted horrible to people. Now she's kind of like in her second life, kind of getting a second chance, like with a childhood with Kokoro, work experience, having to work under people officially, things like that. And to see how even, the magical girl, who her entire purpose has never really been to be a normal person. It was always just to help people and take the hardships of others for herself. So to see her basically getting a childhood in this episode to then getting work experience, and the whole reason that basically the Dark Lord is eating her basically broke, amazing, and I absolutely adore it. I actually did think she stalked her to her work, but the fact that the boss just wanted to have more help, it's nice. I'm glad that she didn't just get fired or her pay deducted or something like that. There is an argument to be made that, the amount that she's probably paying the magical girl, you probably could also increase Jahy's paycheck, because she really doesn't make all that much, though. It's interesting to learn that sometimes they do get free meals, so I guess that is a bonus for someone who's just eating bean sprouts pretty much every single day. But when it came to the work side of the episode, I really enjoyed seeing how bad she was at her job, because immediately, even before, the boss was talking about how that was basically Jahy when she first started, she was very bad at her job. I immediately got the impression, I was like, damn, it's very much night and day that now Jahy's the professional worker, and the magical girl is what Jahy started out as. And I like how she was getting upset and offended, and there was just some great scenes, every time she was trying to carry things, basically Jahy ended up either catching it if she was able to save the food, or she got drenched in beer. But then to see how she really became a mentor, and how the magical girl was feeling very bummed out, and the boss kind of gave her that pick-me-up, it's nice because, when you compare the first few episodes of this show, screw humans, I don't need humans to help, I don't need humans to give me praise, to now watch me do the thing that I used to criticize and kind of feeling a sense of accomplishment, right? And the idea of kind of the new menu item I thought was awesome, because you knew this was going to bite her in the ass. What I thought was going to happen was that they would pick the expensive food that Jahy wanted to eat, but in return they would lose free meals or something like that. Like, I thought that was going to be the catch. But the idea of like starting off pretty small, being like, oh, this is a good food. We get the Gordon Ramsay moment of like breaking it all down. It's all right, but have you tried this more expensive option? And to see the 3 escalations to the point of like literally getting like Wagyu beef, and I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? You're actually going to serve that? Like, are you putting like $100 price tag on a pub meal? Like, you guys are just destined to go broke. And to see the landlady come in and just shake it all down, I was like, this is glorious. But the icing on the cake, or the salt in the wound, was when the Dark Lord popped up, ate the remaining bits of their meal, not only further punishing Jahy for basically almost making her boss broke and, unable to probably pay their own rent, but then to see the idea that really Big Sister Magical Girl really has took off, because when she's asking for seconds, they're about to give it to her. No, don't give it to her. She gets pouty. I'll buy you a treat on the way home. Like, they really have developed that big sister role with her. And I love the kind of like love triangle feud that they got going on, because, Jahy has to brush it off as, the Dark Lord has her reasons, but she's like literally internally breaking down as externally she's just a complete and utter mess. And I love that, because the idea of Jahy wanting the Dark Lord all for herself, Magical Girl only really caring super about, obviously, Jahy, but still having connections, obviously blossoming that kind of sister relationship with the Dark Lord, having a friend from Tokoro, adult kind of like supervision with the boss and landlady. It's really interesting having that kind of blossom. And I saw some interesting ideas about the Dark Lord and Jahy's relationship kind of like in the Dark Realm itself, because like they were saying like, what if she didn't actually understand the Dark Lord at all? She misunderstood what the Dark Lord wanted this entire time, and maybe they weren't actually all that close, but given the whole idea that she was the number 2, she kind of thought so highly of herself, maybe this time it'll be kind of a wake-up call. And once Jahy is, fully a functioning adult, maybe not like chasing after and being bitter all the time, maybe that's when the Dark Lord will truly blossom that type of relationship, which would be pretty interesting, really, if you think about it. And I mean, honestly, if you compare, I think, this episode to probably like the past 5 or so, probably the most entertaining batch of just Jahy specific reactions. I mean, they kicked it off in the park with her like pretty much becoming a different anime character design, I felt like, and just the escalation throughout it. Absolutely comedy gold. I mean, I leave another episode for 15 weeks straight of the Great Jahy will not be defeated, and I feel like we're now on the point of like the Great Jahy can't escape the Magical Girl, truth be told, but I'm loving it. I'm hoping that maybe within the next episode or 2, Druji and the Magical Girl will come into contact, because Druji believes that Jahy defeated the Magical Girl, and now with the jealousy of like once they navigate that, once she realizes that she wants to be friends, like that's not going to go over smoothly, so that should be pretty fun. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, feelings down below, favorite moment, and what do you hope to see with the coming episodes. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.